Well, Carol, I'm very familiar with that problem. Sitting at our counter, I can no longer read the clock over the stove. So, well,
Yes, annoying.
annoying. Well, that's why we carry our phones around with us, I guess.
Yeah, I don't carry it around. Well, I carry it around with me in the house and then I put it down places. I don't have a good way of wearing it.
Yeah,
So when I'm out in the world, I just put it in my bag and it's on me.
yeah,
But when I'm in the house, I don't, and then I have to call it. Try to right. I'll look at the three places I often put it down, and then finally call it. I mean, that's one good thing the landline is for. It lets me call. I,
yeah, yeah. That you sound like Jane. That's her problem. I have a pouch on my belt so I can keep it with me all the time. So,
yeah, and John always wears a flannel shirt with two pockets,
ah,
and one pocket has his phone, and the other pocket has his glasses and a pen and a stylus for his tablet.
aha. So he's prepared.
He's prepared.
Ah, here's Linda.
You may have to pull your shade down a little bit.
Hi, Linda.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, 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 good.
You're a black shape, but I can hear you.
Oh, lighter sheet here. That help any? No, not really. Not really. Yeah, I've got way too much light behind me, too many windows behind me.
How nice.
Yeah, that's why we
Yeah,
closed our back curtains.
yes, yes. And I don't have curtains on most of them. At least there's nothing but shears because I like the light in this room. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, hi,
Hello.
everybody.
Hi, Linda.
It's good to see. I'm so sorry I have to be on Zoom, but
Well, you must be busy.
it is that time of year, I guess.
Yes, it is. All that seems to be all times of the year for you.
Actually, it does come in waves, but yes, there's only a couple of predictors. And this one I got, Jane Bugby's friends are in a choir and they lost their accompanist and they've got 6 performances already scheduled for May and
Oh,
June.
Oh,
oh,
So I couldn't say no.
yeah.
That's the one word I need to learn. N-O. And it's kind of always a, yeah.
Well, so I have a question for the three of you. My schedule has changed a little, and I wondered if you would like to meet in the morning.
Morning would be okay for me.
on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Most Thursday, let me go grab my phone. So I've got my schedule.
Um, late late morning, early morning. What time?
It can be not early morning.
Good.
That doesn't work for any of us. Uh, no, I was thinking 10, 10:30, 11, whatever is best.
11 would work better, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because John has a men's group at 4 in Groton.
Uh-huh.
So if I come to Shelley's and then hang around for a while, I'm screaming to get home in time to get him to the men's group. So
Yeah.
I was going to ask if we could come a little bit earlier, but um, 11 gives a good gap of time. If that
Yeah.
works for you, Shell, and then we can still.
Does that work for Shell?
That would work for me too.
Okay.
Um, so our next class is on the 9th of May.
Yep.
Actually, that makes it so I can actually be at the class if we're at 11, because I've got that new group that I'm accompanying has a performance that afternoon. I would have had to miss class. So,
Aha. Okay.
so
So
11,
Shelley, does that work for you?
I'm getting thumbs up.
Ah, okay. Well, let's change our time to 11 then on Thursday.
good. I'm going to take my phone back out of this room so I don't hear it as it vibrates.
Yeah. So that good for you, Carol?
Yes, yeah, that gives me plenty of time to do Negong and hang out with Shelley for a little while,
Uh-huh.
and be home in plenty of time to get John to his
Great.
group. And and he sometimes has PT in the afternoon at around 2-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So that frees up that. So yes, it works for me.
Good. Okay. Well, we
I have
will
to adjust the head. I mean, it's easy to change a calendar.
and and we can always adjust.
Oh,
You know, if anybody has a issue, this is not cast in stone. We um, see what we can do. Okay. So let us proceed.
it's not places. But I block the light from that back window. Doesn't matter to you. Well, could be.
So any questions or comments or thoughts before we before we move?
I
Is it,
liked the last couple of times where you were talking more about our structure. Um,
mm,
that's helped a little bit. So, and especially when we're here remotely and it's hard for you to see, it's always good for you to comment on those things kind of in a general idea, and it's helped the opening, the rounding, the weight
mm-hmm.
transfer, all of that's been a help. So
Yeah, I had a couple more things I was going to talk about with that today too. So good, good. Yeah, I I realized the one reason why I started going back to some of those things is that I realized that I hadn't really focused on that for a long time, and we can all use reminders, including me. so it's good for all of us. So and anything you wanted to say, Michelle or Carol?
No.
Okay. Well, let's do a little energy gates then. So before we actually go into it, I wanted to talk about a couple of things in the third swing, which certainly is the more difficult of them. One of the things is to be aware of the bounce at both the top and the bottom. And when we just practice as we can, that bounce, you discover that they're different. That on the bottom, you go down and you come right back up. The rounding of that corner, thank you, Master Joe, is immediate. At the top, it's not, because at the top, the change of the energy has not a stop, but it's a slower transition. So it's a gentler bounce, if you will. So you can work on that to some degree without going into the third swing, just finding the bounce in the movement of your body. So this is actually a very early exercise when we start into the third swing. Now the other important piece of that is that the arms need to rotate. And they rotate at the bottom, the palms are facing backwards, and at the top, the thumbs are out or up. So there is a rotation of the arms as they go up. Now, one of the things, of course, is that the arms only rise as far as the energy moves them or moves up the body. So if you are only getting the energy to come roughly, say, to your chest or shoulder level, then you'll have a little rotation, but you won't have as much. But when it rises above and gets into the area of the head, then that movement becomes very important, because the rotation of the hands above the level of roughly the nose actually causes the energy in the brain to spread. And when it comes back in, it comes back in. And what this does is it has a tendency to cleanse the energy of the brain. So when you go, eventually can go into the third swing and have the arms going all the way up, then that rotation becomes really important, because it's affecting the energy of the brain. Questions about that? Any of that? So just some things to be aware of as you do some energy gates in between our classes, as well as at the moment. Energy gates is very important, both just for its specific benefits, but also when we're doing Tai Chi. It is suggested that at minimum you learn somewhere between 60 to 80% of the energetic components of Tai Chi in opening the energy gates of your body. So it's a pretty important practice. And for meditation, it's very important because it gets the energy moving and opened up throughout the entire structure. So take a moment to just stand. And then stepping out with the left, coming into your basic structure, and just making sure that you have that basic alignment throughout your entire body. From Yong Chuan on the bottom of your feet to Bai Hui at the top of your head, and out through the fingertips. And as you feel that your structure is stable, begin to focus on the breath. Letting the breath be continuous, constant, smoothly changing from inhale to exhale. And slowing, allowing the breath to slow. So taking the time to let the inhale be long and the exhale equally long. Without any holding. And I might just say that one of the really good times to focus on the breath and be aware of its slowness is after you meditate. Very often the breath will slow if you have been effectively meditating. So shifting to Shimian at the heel and twisting outward through the whole body. Allow the energy that the body cannot use sink into the earth. Where it can be cleansed and recycled. And coming back to center and extending your mind through your body. And just scan down from the very top to the bottom. Just being aware of blockages that you may address a little bit later. Just beginning to assess where your energetic bodies are today, at this moment. And then flowing into cloud hands. Finding the roundness of all your movements. Trying to make sure that there are no corners where the energy might get stuck. Weight on the heel, on the weighted side, and on the toe on the light side. And aware that your hands are not crossing the center line of the body. Let that bending and extending be present through the entire body. And flowing into the swings. Be very aware that you don't lift the arms muscularly, but do you allow the movement of the energy to lift the arms. So the energy can cause the arms to flow through that lower warmer. Just subtly lifting up and down. And notice that the arms are also rotating in these swings just as they are in cloud hands. And then into the movement of the second swing. And again, the energy in the movement can raise and lower the arms through that middle warmer. And then into the spine stretch. very aware that you don't allow anything to bend above the area that you're focusing on, starting at the bottom and ending at the top. As you come up, it is the same principles, except now you're focusing on the anterior side of the spine, including the anterior cruciate ligament. Now you keep everything bent above the point that you're working on until you release it and open it. And closing. So, any questions or thoughts in there? Okay. So I'm going to continue with forgiveness and deep self-acceptance without quite so many words. So settle into your good structure seated. And focus on your breath for a moment. Letting it be slow and smooth and continuous. As you extend your mind through your body, and then begin to scan down from the crown of your head, ice to water, water to inner space. And as you arrive at inner space, I want you to just stay in that place and start seeing what comes out of it. Notice the force of the universe, which is moving through you. If it feels like a nice force, don't try to grab it and possess it. Just know that it has a kind of force or strength behind it. And then begin to notice how the ego resists this flow of the universe. ice to water, water to inner space. Now, one agenda that goes with this is I have free will, and I just want to try and find out what is the flow of the universe and what is my free will. So starting again from the crown of your head, have that agenda and start dissolving downward. Now, there may be egos that are popping up, that are creating the constant manifestations in your life that you're probably wishing to be forgiven for. So is it you that's doing it? Or is it just something that's moving through your life? Because you will only truly accept yourself once you forgive yourself. But the first trick in forgiving yourself, in order to get to a sense of deep self-acceptance, is that you need to recognize how the flow of the universe is moving through you. And this is going on moment by moment in your life. Because there are so many things we wish to be forgiven for. Ice to water, water to inner space. So dissolving whatever way it is that you are resisting the flow of the universe, because it will only be after you release enough of that pressure that you will be able to forgive yourself and find self-acceptance. all of this is simply the way that the universal resistance is activating what's inside of you. So if you have any feelings like this, focus on those things. Ice to water, water to inner space, and dissolve the resistance that's causing it. So the more you resist our universal flow, and you don't know where it's coming from, usually the stronger its influence becomes in you. And if you don't resist it, it just moves through you and comes out the other side, releasing you. Ice to water, water to inner space. You're simply a human being. And if you can accept that, you also can forgive all the nonsense you think you need to be forgiven for. Ice to water, water to inner space. But just for now, going beyond self-esteem is really what the agenda is. Going beyond positive self-esteem and beyond a negative self-esteem, so that the force behind the flow of the universe loses most of its ability to negatively influence you, so that the way you pass on this force is something that naturally creates balance and compassion. And you can begin to close whenever you are ready. Sending all benefit gained from this practice out to help all the sentient creatures of the universe. Anyone have the last minute thoughts or questions?
Request that you don't get so quiet that I can't hear you.
Did I get too quiet? I beg your
Yes.
pardon.
I could barely hear the last, I think you said balance at toward the end, and I'm not sure I could hear anything else you said then.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. I guess I was getting too meditative myself. I will endeavor not to do that to you again, Carol.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you at 11 o'clock next time.
Yes. Yes.
Be sure and write it on your calendar.
Yes.
And I will put an alert on it because maybe I can even make it out there in person then.
Ooh, that would be
Yes.
exciting.
Well, I think Shelley and I are going to do it from here for a while.
Okay, that's great. Um, you're feeling better, Linda?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I still have a cough that's just been lingering, so not much I can do about that until it just works its way out of the system.
That's a drag. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Well, I hope you keep on improving.
Me too. The sunshine helps.
Does it not? It would also be good if it were a little warmer. Okay, guys, have a great couple of weeks, and
Okay.
we'll see you at 11 in the morning.
Yes. Thank you.
Surely.